2-hour wait, the court delivered its judgment, discharging Mr. Nnamdi Kanu of the 6-count charge of terrorism on the grounds that the trial court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain the charges against.
Okay, Ikenga Tochukwu, we understand you can't say much on that. But let's look at what we are now faced with. On several occasions, I've raised issues. I've asked why the federal government of Nigeria seem not to understand the danger that the Southeasterners are facing with the continuous detention of Nnamdi Kanu, especially because a court of competent jurisdiction has already given the leave for him to go. Now, not the body language of the president, not anything about the federal government is saying that there is hope on the horizon. So now Simon Ekpa have decided to take charge and become the face of the opposition when it comes to the issues of around the Southeast, but giving others that counter others. He has said there will be no election in the Southeast. We're yet to hear the government come out properly to say we are going to deal with the issue of the Finland-based agitators, the case may be. But now, we are now being faced with a new phase of this issue. The people have resorted, the absence of proper protection from the government have now left the people to now resort to self-help. And this is the mob attack we're now experiencing in Anambra State. First and foremost, we learned about somewhere in Anambra, Anaku, over a land dispute. A soldier is being abducted right now in Anambra by the youths over something that happened. I think soldier beating up an older man, a blind man, and all of that. So we're in same Anambra now, where they have decided to say, okay, since there is no one speaking up or trying to do anything about this seat at home, we've been able to get a culprit. Let's deal with the culprit. But this is where we are right now. Help us understand better what we are looking at here now that the people of the Southeast have resorted to self-help.
Well, thank you very much. You see, the Southeastern social, political, and economic issues are very convoluted right now. You know, it's been on a very tardy, road. The Southeast, if you remember, was not like this before. It was not a conundrum. It was not a place where you normally have this kind of violence. I've lived among the Southeasterners. I'm sorry I'm using the word Southeasterners. I've lived among them in Lagos. About 95% of the people, or my friends, are not even from my place, but they are from the Southeast. I remember those days I used to spend my Christmas holiday in a place they call Ite Obama in Imo State. And I have loved that place. But suddenly it snapped. There's a reason why this happened. A lot of injustices, took place. That is number one. Because of time, I don't want to go too far there. Now, the one that, exacerbated the whole situation now is the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm not a member of IPOB. I am not from the Southeast, but I have sympathy and, kind of sentiments when it comes to issues like this. Now, this young man was arrested. You now said that he's a terrorist, is this, is that. You have called so many names. You have put a bad name on his head because you just want to hang it. Now, you took him before your very court that you established by the Constitution. The trial now began. You see, the trial began. And at the end of the day, the courts of the federal government now came from the lower court, the federal high court, set this man free and said, go. You refuse to release him. The Court of Appeal also came up. That is the second highest court in the land. Also came up to say, this man did not do anything. Please allow him to go. You refuse to do this. You still kept the man in not just in DSS custody. And the young man has been complaining that he's not feeling well where he is. That he's even going very blind, as the case may be. And these members have been saying, release this man. If you release this young man, with the clout that he has, already accumulated, he can speak to the Southeastern people, and I'm telling you that there will be a relative peace in that place, and order and harmony, as the case may be. Let us not deceive ourselves. The conundrum going up in the Southeast, if it conflagrates further than this, might affect the whole of Nigeria. Why has it been that Buhari and his government, they always like keeping people and try to, extradite people from wherever? In 1984, if you remember, Buhari extradited Umaru Diko. He drugged him and put him inside a crate. His government, as at that time, did that from UK to bring him. The same thing he did in Nnamdi Kanu's case, by extraordinary rendition from Kenya to this place, without following due process. All countries of the world have said, this man, okay, you tell him a criminal or a terrorist, but your courts have said, release him. You have refused to release him. That is why you find that a lot of people are now using that as a disguise to begin to operate, in a clandestine manner, trying to say they want to enforce what they call citato, etc. as the case may be. Now, situations like this means that the government is deaf and blind. In the sense that very simple thing, an election period like this, what I expected the federal government to have done is for them to placate a section of this country that is so dissatisfied. During the election period, I believe, like what happened in Shagari time, Shagari had to grant Ojukwu amnesty to come back to Nigeria to sway him so that the Southeasterners will feel a sense of belonging. And when Ojukwu came back from Ivory Coast, you could find that there was relative peace and harmony in the Southeast, and they now amalgamated and coalesced into the mainstream Nigerian politics because they felt, to the extent that Ojukwu even had to contest an election of that year due to Shagari. Now, why can't this government that I'm talking to now, why can't they replicate same at the national level? Release Nnamdi Kanu. The Nnamdi Kanu is not being released by popular votes or whatever, but by the course of the land. So a man that has not obeyed simple court order like this, will he obey other court orders? That is why Nigerians are suffering today. I want to tell Nigerians, and I want to speak to the federal government. If they like, let them get me, I'm ready for them. But I want to tell them something today, that what you need to do, there must be a sense of harmony. Go through your constitution, what you have created for Nigeria. Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution, Chapter 4, you have negated them. And I believe that God will never be happy with all of us until justice is done. In this case, to stem that violence in the Southeast, etc., and let Southeast be my home again, where I can go to and have fun. That's what I will say.
And thank you very much, Barrister Asim Adam. It's always an honor to blog with you on this platform.
Yes, thank you very much.